Okay, I'd like to actually turn to practice. And today, as I mentioned, is the 26th day of the Omer. Yesterday, we were just past the midpoint in this period between Passover and Shavuot. Yesterday, Rabbi Batsheva Meiri very helpfully reminded us that another metaphor for framing the transition is from the barley that was offered in the time of the temple on Passover and the new crop of wheat that was offered on Shavuot. So we're moving from barley, which feeds animals, to wheat, which feeds human beings, and the new freshly baked loaves that were offered in the temple on Shavuot from the new crop. So on an agricultural level, we can see the progression, and we can also see the progression through this period in terms of our own spiritual maturation and growth. Just as the crops are growing, hopefully we are growing in certain qualities. And so we do that by following this journey through the Omer and the particular sphirot, divine emanations, / midot, divine qualities that we are paying close attention to, especially during this period. So just to quickly point out where we are in that journey, the check mark marks today. This is the week of Netzach, and that goes through the weekend, tomorrow, Shabbat, and Sunday. Since we only meet on weekdays, we're not getting to these last two columns in this particular round of the Omer, but it's still the week of Netzach through Sunday, and then Sunday night will begin the week of Hod. But in this week of Netzach, each day corresponds to, again, one of the Sphirot, and today the combination is Hod Shebenetzach. And we're going to unpack that a little bit for a moment to lead us into our practice and our sit. Hod, in the definition that we're using for purposes of this practice during the Omer, represents our capacity to simply be with what is. Hod is sometimes associated with the midah of humility. It is also associated with the midah of hodaya, or gratitude. And we could see the connection between humility and gratitude, our capacity to pull back and to be in a receiving mode, or to make space for others as an expression of acknowledgement of the presence and the validity of the other. Hod as hodaya is really cultivating our ability to be in this Shabbat mode of not altering, of recognizing the limitations of our control, and our willingness to accept the limitations of our control, and to simply be with what is, to be with what is. Now that is combined today with Netzach, which is kind of the yang to its yin. Netzach is the energy that is present and coursing through us. I'm going to stop the share for a second and just do a little show and tell. I have my handy dandy snow globe here. Happens to be the city of Atlanta, where it's snowing right now, in my hand. And Netzach, the Netzach energy, see if I can hold it, you can see the sparkles, is the dynamic movement which is stirred up, but which is always swirling around inside the snow globe. But when we stop shaking it, when we just hold it still in a position of Hod, the Netzach in the glass begins to settle, and we can just watch it swirling. We can watch the natural movement of the energy. We can be appreciative of the aliveness that's present. I just wanted to offer that as a visual, and in a moment I'm going to offer a musical illustration of that principle. So Hod Benetzach today, our practice is about being able to accept and receive everything that is coming up and moving within us, whether it's the thoughts that are rising in our mind, whether it's the emotions that are arising or churning within us, whether it's the sensations that we experience in our body, in any part of our body, the sounds, the ambient sounds in the room. Netzach is the energy that is making the world, it's what makes the world go round. what makes our lives active and dynamic and engaged, even if we're not going anywhere, even if we're not working per se. It's the thoughts which generate anxiety about something that needs to be done, or the itch that needs to be scratched, or the thought that something could be better or improved or needs to get accomplished today. All of which is a divine quality within us. That week, this is the week of Netzach, where we're honoring that energy, that snow that's flowing around within us. Sometimes it's a blizzard, and sometimes it's just a dusting, but it's always movement. It's always movement. That's the aliveness. That's the chiyut, the life energy that is surging through us, that is looking for expression. We can think about that also as the energy that motivates and enables us to be partners with the divine in the ongoing creation of the world, to be, quote, productive, active citizens, even if it takes the form of just understanding and following what's going on in the world, as opposed to hodaya or hod, which is Shabbat mode of simply being with and being appreciative of our capacity to do that. So today we're going to sit with appreciation for whatever is coming up in us today, whatever's coming up in our mind, whatever's coming up in our body, whatever's coming up in our emotional life. All of it is evidence of our aliveness. And that leads us into the little bit of music that I want to offer as an entree into our practice for today. First, sharing this teaching from Rabbi Menachem Nachum of Chernobyl, author of the Torah commentary, the Me'orei Naim, who said that when a person's spirit falls to the depth of despair, the person must think, why? I'm alive. Chai ani. And who is this aliveness I am? Is it not the Holy Blessed One? So when we are disconnected, what the Me'orei Naim is describing here is in a place of despair, that can signal to us this is a moment to bring our awareness just to the fact that we are alive. And that netzach, that energy, that aliveness, that chaim is evidence of the presence of God within me right now. I'm alive. And who's this aliveness? Is it not the Holy Blessed One? And so Rabbi David Zeller, Zichrono Livracha, blessed memory, put this teaching to music with a song called I Am Alive. And I'm going to play that for a moment, but I want to invite us before we start listening to the music. And I'll put the words back up on the screen, but you can just let the words wash over you. I'm going to play it for about 8 minutes, and then we'll just go into silence. But let's begin just by finding a position for practice that feels comfortable for you. No, there's no one size fits all. Just it's suggested that if you can, to place the soles of your feet on the floor so that you feel grounded and connected to this earth and the planet, supported by your seat, by your chair, the backrest. You might notice the support of the legs of the chair or your sofa, the cushions, softness or the hardness of the seat, and maybe a silent thank you. Thanks for holding me up today. Thanks for supporting me. And to your skeletal structure, whatever its condition right now, also supporting our weight and holding us. And maybe to find a position of alertness by pressing the crown of the head upwards towards the sky so that we are connected to what's above and below and can experience ourselves as a ladder connecting heaven and earth, like Jacob's ladder, or as a channel that connects the material world, the world of Gashmiut, with the spiritual world, the hidden world, the world within the worlds. and honoring all the dimensions of our existence and just allowing ourselves to come to awareness of our breath as a reminder that we are, in fact, alive. And so I want to invite us to use this time to transition into Shabbat as a time for noticing, accepting, and appreciating just the fact that we're alive. And what is this aliveness? This aliveness is the very Holy One, who or which animates all of being.
La 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I'm alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I'm alive. And who is this aliveness I am? And who is this aliveness I am? And who is this aliveness I am? Is it not the Holy Blessed One? I la 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I'm alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I la 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 la. I am alive. I'm alive. And who is this aliveness I am? And who is this aliveness I am? And who is this aliveness I am? Is it not the Holy Blessed One? I la 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 la, hello, hi, ani. I la 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 la, hello, hi, ani. I la 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 la, hello, hi, ani, hi, ani. I la 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 la, hello, hi, ani. I la 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 la, hello, hi, ani. I la 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 la, hello, hi, ani, hi, ani. Umi, hu hachayut sheli. Umi, hu hachayut sheli. Umi, hu hachayut sheli. Hello, habore yitbarach. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la. Ay la la.
So as we said, we just notice each sensation each emotion, each thought as representing that chayut, that aliveness, without judging it, without assessing it, with setting the opinion aside for now. I'm alive. Just to be aware of our aliveness and wonder at the source of it. So we'll sit for about 10 minutes in silence. Hod Shebenetzach. And as we said, I invite you, if you're comfortable, to have your hands face in an upward position in a pose of receptivity, of Hod, of acceptance, receiving the aliveness that is present right now with delight, with wonder, with gratitude. And if objections arise, as the judge, you can just say, duly noted, objection noted. Let's proceed.
Hello, hi, ani. I la 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 la. Hello, hi, ani. Hi, ani. Umi, hachayut sheli. Umi, hachayut sheli. Umi, hachayut sheli. Aloha Borei Yitbarach. Is it not the Holy Blessed One? Aloha Borei Yitbarach.
When you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open if they've been closed, or sharpen your focus. Come back to our group. Blessing to be with you. We seal our practice, as we always do, by giving an opportunity for mourners, those observing a yard site, to acknowledge their loss through Mourner's Kaddish, and invite you to share the name or names of anyone you'd like to include in our Kaddish today in the chat box, either now or after we recite Kaddish. Invite those of you who are in mourning or observing a yard site, or if it's your custom to participate, to rise in body or in spirit. Yit Gadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi.
Amen.
Ya'amad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ha'agala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbi mevarach olam v'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitamam v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitlal shmei dekudsha b'richu. La'ela mimo birchata v'shirata v'shbechata v'nechemata v'amiram ba'ama v'imru Amen.
Shalom.
Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya. Chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Aseh Shalom
B'mrama
Bimrama.
v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol
Kol
Yisrael
Yisrael.
v'al kol Yoshei Tevel
Imru.
v'imru
Amen.
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 Friends, thanks for joining us this pre-Shabbat meditation today. Opportunity to sit into Shabbat together. Thanks to Adi Stein, as ever, for holding our tech mishkan, our tabernacle here with grace and skill, as always. We'll be back on Monday. We'll be led in practice. Next week is the week of Hod, or Hodaya, gratitude, a week of cultivating gratitude and being with what is. And we'll lead off on Monday with Rabbi Lauren Tuckman, who will be back to lead us in practice, 12:30 Eastern Monday. For those who are leaving us, I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, a restorative, beautiful, lovely Shabbat, restful weekend, and hope to see you next week. For those who are able to stay on and would like to, I welcome your questions in the chat box or reflections on the practice today. And so for those who are leaving now, Shabbat Shalom. Hope to see you next week. If you do have a question, if you can preface it with a question, that'll be great. Thanks for the nice comments. Just see if there's any questions. So just to be clear, the song was composed by Rabbi David Zeller, who's a very deep Jewish spiritual teacher who passed away. And the link is, if you didn't download the document, maybe idea, if you can put the link to the document, it has a hyperlink in it to the website, and it will also, the album is on Spotify, and I will give you here's a link to the David Zeller archives there. And I'll try to put the link to the specific song, I Am Alive. So if you look for I Am Alive, David Zeller, you'll find that. Okay, Judy, this is a question. Elaborate on the process of how to move from despondency to aliveness. Well, as I understand it from this, at least the way I when I read that teaching of the Meori Naim, and I'll have to say I actually didn't quite know the origins of why Rabbi David Zeller, put that teaching to music and where it came from, or the context about when one feels despair, here's what you should do. So I guess what I took, for what it's worth for me, is to despair may happen, despondency may happen, or maybe it happens to us all at different times. And when it does happen, when it comes upon us, there is the danger that we can get tangled in it, stuck in it, and then it can yank us down under the surface. And I guess the spiritual teaching here is to not flee from despondency or despair, not surrender to it either, but to use it as kind of a springboard or a jumping off point to say, let me remember that I'm alive. Just start there. And now I'm adding my midrash on that, and that's enough. That's enough. I'm alive. That's the baseline. I am alive. can I first of all accept that I'm alive? Can I notice I'm alive? Can I accept that I'm alive? And can I recognize that my aliveness goes beyond me? That my aliveness connects me to everything. So that my despondency or despair, which may stem from a sense of disconnection and loneliness and shame, is actually an illusion that I'm following. The truth is, I'm always connected. The truth is, I'm part of this aliveness. And whether you go with this or not, I'll say that I think that aliveness extends beyond our lifespan, or on this earth. That is, beyond our physical aliveness. There is an aliveness, an energy that is present, that is always that we, using this wave ocean analogy that those of you who are participating in awareness and action are familiar with, that the wave arises out of the ocean. We as individual waves arise out of an ocean of energy, and we will subside back into that same ocean. But the energy of the wave is never lost, and it's always connected to the larger energy. So it's, I guess as simple as that. Maybe might be sound simple, not so easy in practice. Although feeling delight, curiosity, and gratitude come pretty easily for me lately. When I say my morning moda ani, I'm wondering if what has become a dark phase of my life maybe disappoints God. When I say Rabba uminatecha, great is your faithfulness, that God has faith in me, but perhaps I'm letting God down by not making my life great, not grateful enough for the gift of life. Ooh, thank you. Thank you, Lori, for that, for the honesty of that. I'm not sure what I have to say about that, other than I know my reaction hearing that is to say, I'd like to imagine a God who is never disappointed, who's not waiting to be pleased. That's whatever. When we notice that happening, that we can become aware, perhaps, of that's a projection, for whatever the source may be. But for me, spiritual practice, I'd like spiritual practice to be for me. And even though I totally relate to that, and I should imagine many of us do, that I'd like to try to see, when I see that, and say, like, that's ridiculous. I don't mean that in a, judgy way. I mean, like, can I believe that God, in a God that's never disappointed in me? Can I believe in a God who's always unconditionally accepting and loving of me? Can that be my Rabba emunatecha? You have faith in me even when I don't have faith in myself. You're connected to me even when I don't feel connected to myself. And so throwing that out. Oh, good. Okay. And Judy is asking, is our focus for the Sphira of Hod, which is the coming week, the same as the Kabbalistic interpretation of the Sphira? Yeah. And the answer is yes. That there are, within the Sphira, can be a constellation of qualities, what we're calling, whenever we use the word midot, which literally means quantities, quantities of qualities, subcategories. So with Hod is often associated with humility, and now I'm forgetting who was the teacher this week. Cannot remember. In our wonderful parade of teachers, mentioned a little bit of confusion, because for Tiferet, we were talking about anava, humility, in association with Tiferet, balanced self. And humility is also associated with this coming week's Sphira of Hod. But so is Hodaya. Hod literally means splendor. Hodaya, gratitude. And the root of that word has to do with acknowledgement, admission, recognition, confession. Moda ani, I acknowledge before you, my God. That's what that word means. So even when we say todah, thank you, what we really say is, I see you, I acknowledge you. That's really the primary meaning. I see you, I acknowledge you. This is what is. And gratitude as an English word, I think, has that connotation of happiness about that may be directly related, but follows from the first step, which is just seeing what is true right now. And that's why that was the suggestion for today. Let's just see what's true. What's true? Oh, unless I'm dead, I'm alive. And in this moment, I'm conscious, so I must be alive. And look at all this evidence. My skin itches. Something is gnawing at my mind. I'm feeling antsy or guilty or, excited, or I'm having feelings. I have feelings. I have thoughts. I have sensations. I'm alive. Wow. At the moment, I may not be thrilled about that. But if I just stay with that, I'm alive, that's really quite amazing. Maybe a little bit of gratitude can bubble up if I can really be with that. Oh, a lot of new messages. Yes, okay. So the way we're, for purposes of this practice, and especially in the Awareness in Action program, which is in which the Midot track the sequence of the Sfirot. This week of Netzach, we associated with the Midah of Zirizut, energetic response. But Netzach is kind of this representation of that energy, that chayut, that life force energy, of course, which is coursing through everything, all the other Midot as well. But it's active. It's the energy that's available for us to do in the world, even if it's just go make a cup of tea. It doesn't have to mean like change the world. Just, the energy to get up and make myself a cup of tea. That's Zirizut. Or to get up out of bed and get dressed, or to get off the couch, or to go to the restroom. Zirizut. It's all Zirizut. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could be a very mundane act. If we didn't have Zirizut, we would never move. So that's the Netzach. This is a week of that. Let's say that's the yin, and the yang then is, I got nowhere to go. I'm just sitting right here, and that's fine. There's a part of me that wants to be restful. Sometimes I would describe Netzach and Zirizut energy as Spilkus energy, restless energy. Got to move, got to do something, even if it's at a very low level. It can be a very high level, very agitated. I got to move. Or it could be, got to shift positions here. Hod is the capacity to like, I don't want to go anywhere. Right here. I don't want to make anything happen. I just want to let it be. And that's, so we've got both. And that's the Sheshet Yemei HaMaseh, the 6 days of creation, and Shabbos. So here we are at the end of the week, for us, the end of our week of practice of Netzach, shifting into Shabbat. Perfect to have Hod, Shabbat mode, to notice. And maybe one more way of thinking about it, was that like, just in addition to the snow globe, is whenever we do something that stirs up momentum, that, I don't know, a wind up doll or toy, you wind it up and it goes, and then we're not winding it up anymore. We're just watching the energy we've generated move through that thing until it comes to a rest and the energy is dissipated. And we can watch that happen in the same way that we shake up the snow globe. We see the snow moving, and then if we stop, eventually it comes to a rest. Looking forward to Jack in the Box. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the snow globe is good for all purposes for this practice. We should send everybody a snow globe, or just go out and buy a snow globe. keep it next to your computer or your device. Yeah, so we'll continue to go through just to look ahead. We have, spoiler alert, next week we have Hod, which is the week of gratitude, appreciation, just simply being. And then the week after that is the week of Yesod, foundation. And that is associated in Kabbalah with Tzaddik, with Joseph, actually, the character of Joseph from the Torah, Yosef HaTzadik. So the focus that week will be on doing the right thing, our moral capacity to notice what is right and do what is right. And Malchut, which is the final week, which represents kind of the mouth of the river. If we're thinking about this as a trip down the river to the ocean, and we had that, I think, this week, right? The brook. Sabrina Sojourner's amazing story about the brook that's yearning to find its way to the ocean. That's what's wending its way through us. So Malchut is the last stage where the river enters into the ocean. It's the mouth. And so we're focusing on, in terms of a midah, of Shmirat Halashon, about awareness about how all of these qualities, so Chesed, Gevura, Anava, Zirizut, Hodaya, Tzedek, all of them manifest in how we express them, how they move from within us out into the world, how we communicate them with our bodies, with our typing, with our text, with our emails, with our voice. So that's the whole journey. Okay, we're at time. I just want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Great to be with you. Wonderful week of practice. Hope you have a lovely, lovely Shabbat. Thank you, Adi. And hope to see you all on Monday to practice with Rabbi Lauren Tuckman.